Yeah, cruising in the ocean with my fellas, waving at the shore, we got all them people jealous. They see that we shining from way over yonder. Gotta thank my father, my sponsor, for putting me on board and also giving me the capability to live life with no fear, create buzz with no beer. God is the reason why I live like this. Now everybody hating me, now I feel like Chris. Working out, eating right, now I look like this. Phone filled with different numbers, now my ex all pissed. Now I'm playing, she don't care cause she move like this. Man, I ain't hating cause she bad, man, we all ruthless. Man, I got money in my pocket, diamonds on my pinky and that. And we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, sis and bro, what you know? It's just call me Monte Nacho. If you are a fan, I got you. My favorite food is crab and lobster. And you are
Miss Mayo. I ain't got nothing like that. My name is Desiree. I like to play with clay, and I don't be messing with hay and all that stuff. Yeah.
Hey. Hey. Oh my goodness. But yeah, today is the first episode of the history lesson. We're going to learn and also be treated with artwork from the Design by Mayo company, by the artists formerly known as, or not formerly known as, or how you do that?
How would you do that? Is known as?
Do they do that? Like when they do Prince, they say the artist formerly known as Prince, which means like he's not Prince no more. Like I don't understand. How does that work? The artist formerly known as Prince, maybe. And I heard he had copyright problems with that back in the day too, but I didn't really look into it. I don't know, but yeah. But we're going to learn a lot about Black history in the month of March, and we're doing this on purpose because we don't have to do it in February. How about that? How about we deserve 31 days? How about that? How about that? Come on, 31 days. We deserve it. What are you doing? Black people 31 days? Mm-hmm. Black people 31 days. Let's cheer on it. It makes no sense. We got to understand. It has to make sense. So we are
especially
here.
When most of the things that you even sit on or make, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting on a folded chair. Those are like epic right now.
Yeah.
Made by a Black person. So
yeah, and that's crazy that the folded chair made by Black people were the same folded chairs in Alabama. And what y'all get beat up with? That Black people weapon.
By a Black person. Keep your mouth shut. Just keep your mouth shut.
I'm just saying. But anyways, who are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk about, actually, we're going to talk about 3 different people. One of them is not Black.
My camera is slowly moving down.
It is. It was just like,
jeez. All right, go ahead. We're talking about who?
We're going to talk about 3 different people. One of them is not Black.
Really?
Yes. You are frozen. Oh, there you are. Okay. But yeah, we're going to talk about her last because she's pretty amazing. And a lot of people don't, know who she is. But our first one is Miss Ida B. Wells.
Now, is that an art picture or?
This is a print.
You drew this?
Yes.
Okay. No, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yes. She was done in charcoal, which is like gets all over your fingers and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And these lines in the background, like if you, let's see, that way. In the background, you see a
little bit of lines in the background. Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's because the charcoal gets all over your fingers. And
so
I was like, I might as well just make designs with it since it's all over my hands anyways.
Right.
Her hair is dope. She got that kinky curls.
Yeah.
I love it. So this is her. She's amazing. So things that you need to know about Ida B. Wells. Number 1, she's amazing. Number 2, she is literally the first person who did not give up her seat on anything.
Oh.
And people don't know that.
Oh.
So in 1884, which isn't that crazy?
Is that taking shots at Rosa? Is that what we doing today?
We're not. Because if we was going to do that, I drew Claudette Calvin, who was the first to actually not sit on a bus. 3 days ago, but we're not gonna talk about her today.
Oh man, okay.
Because she was 15, and I think they said she was pregnant, so she couldn't be the face of whatever. But she was like, but when you see, there's an actual video of it. She felt like she was encouraged by Rosa Parks to, do, and sometimes you tired. Oh, and fun fact for you, I had a little kid tell me, we just learned about Martin Luther King, Miss Mayo, and you would be in the back of the bus.
What?
Yeah. And I told them, this Black Panther right here, Desiree, don't go to the back of the bus.
Wow.
I
learned about Black history, and you would be on the back of the bus. It's crazy.
I won't be in the back of the bus. I would fight my way and probably be because Mom was like, you probably be dead, Desiree. I was like, yeah, because I'm just that.
We're not sitting in the back of nothing.
Yeah.
We sat in the back of the bus because that's where the cool kids was. That's what we sat at. We sat back there because that's what we wanted to be, not because they told us to go back there.
Forced us, yes.
Oh, stop that.
And then Emmanuel was told to go to the back of the bus when we first moved into our school district. And he was like, why would I do that? We have assigned seats. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So he didn't even realize what they meant. And then when the year was up, they were like, oh, well, I think we did that. We didn't fix that the way it should be fixed. I was like, school's out.
Yeah, that's wild. I wonder if
jump off a lake real quick. Go for a swim.
They just if they was doing assigned seats, would assign the Black people in the back seat on purpose. I mean, people wouldn't even read into that. Yeah, so he was in the front.
And it was Black History Month when he said it. Like, and he's like, why would?
No, who said it? A student or the bus driver?
A student. Okay. Yeah, and he's just like, I mean, why would I do that? Like, he did not understand because he did not. Of course, schools here are not teaching that. So
who was the person that said that they had to sit in the back? Was that a white kid that said that?
Mm-hmm.
I told you that you should sit in the back.
Oh no, she was Asian. Matter of fact,
and they taught that in the school.
She wouldn't even be on the bus.
Oh wow!
At the time of our discrimination, she wouldn't be on the bus.
No, she wouldn't.
So I was like, honey, we got to learn all history. That's why I'm teaching all history because y'all wouldn't even be on the bus.
You wouldn't be on the bus. Yeah, fact.
So you got to learn your history. So now when it comes to Ida B. Wells, she was the first woman in the United States to refuse to give up her seat. And she did on a train. Because they had all of these, like, they wanted her to move to another area. They really wanted her to move to another area. She purchased a first class ticket. The girl was bad. She deserves a first class ticket. So what she did was she was a journalist. So she wrote about lynching. And she wrote how wrong it was and how this needs to stop. And somebody else just got lynched and this is going on. She's also one of the founders of the NAACP.
Okay.
Don't ever ask my kids what that stands for because they can't tell you.
Oh, man.
They come up with everything else. One was about pizza in there or something about pizza. I was like, no.
They got the NWS. They got the NAACP thing mixed the same thing like the LGBT.
It's just they're like, no.
It's a lot of letters.
It's just,
like stop. Like it's a lot of letters.
What's the National Association for Advancement of Colored People? So that's what that is. So she's one of the founders with W.E.B. Du Bois, and there's another lady that I drew. So we'll talk about her on another day. But so she got a first class ticket, and they wanted her to go into the other car, and she refused, and they forcibly removed her. Now, Ida B. Wells ain't had no pants at this time. She's wearing a dress.
A dress. Wow.
So you gonna remove a lady that look fancy and tell her she can't sit where she wants to? So she sued Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad and won $500.
That's big money back then.
Now let's see how much $500 was. Yep.
Had to be.
You playing big? Why are you playing games? Like, why would you do that? Like, I feel like
they had to be able to afford a first class seat back in the day. It's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much is that? Like, how much was a ticket?
That's what I'm saying. Like, when was this? What was this?
1884.
Yeah.
100 years later, I was born. Ooh.
That's wild.
$16,102.30 today.
$500.
$500 then. It's
Oh,
$16,000 now.
she was almost rich for real.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, that's
She
a
was
lot. They
balling.
couldn't. If you got $500, like that's a lot.
Yeah, you
That's
moving
a lot.
around. That's like when you move American money over to like Bali or Ghana and stuff like that. Our money costs is way big over there. So if you go over there with like they were saying, like you can stay at a fancy luxury hotel, or you can stay, or you can get massages, professional massages and stuff like that every single day for like a hotel room is like $9 a night.
They said that $100 will have like sustain somebody for a year.
Yeah, you would have maids and people housekeeping your house for $200 a month, and yeah, all at your house, 3-bedroom crib and all of that stuff.
I can go get my hair braided for $10.
$10.
It's just getting over there.
Yeah,
So
just
it's
getting over
almost
there.
like
Yep.
you want to go, and even if it's just like you just want to go just to be a blessing to others, it's gonna
This
keep on
camera
moving.
is
You know it.
wild. I don't know why this camera is doing that. So I'm gonna set it up as
It's
high as
just like,
10 before it slowly moves down. That is
oh,
crazy.
we can,
This camera is wild.
because we can talk about that. Like your camera did it. Try doing that while you at church and your mic is dropping and you just slowly and you playing and your mic is going down.
Wrong one. That's insane.
This is not gonna work. And
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
that's
what
funny.
is going on with the mic? And I'm just singing along, and I'm like, it's just, and then I had to keep moving it up, and then it just kept going, and I'm like,
Yeah,
it's not gonna work. We need a new mic,
yeah, that's
But
wild.
yeah, so that's a lot of money, and she did it. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, she was amazing. Like she was one of those people that spoke. There's another lady named Javita Idar who is she's Latina, and
Mm-hmm.
she is just like she is the Latina version of Ida B. Wells, and that girl didn't play either. Like it's like they're right, not a force to be reckoned with. Like you don't want to be messing with them. Like, so she fought against education and equity and segregation. She fought against that. She fought against lynching. They finally actually passed lynching law as a hate crime by Joe Biden. It took from her time, all the way from the time she talked about that to now, for that to say it's a hate crime.
Wow.
And if you go online on well, it might not be free no more, because for some odd reason they want to have Black documentaries free on everything, every subscription, Prime, everything. But then when it's over, you don't get to see nothing no more. I was like, oh, so we just get a section once again, and then you don't want to give us anything. Okay. Yep. So, but they have it where they used to have postcards with lynching on it. Like people would take pictures of somebody hanging and then have postcards. Yes.
Oh, that's wild.
And and it would say on the back, this end got killed this today because they did ... or we was just mad, and I'm the person hanging in the back. I hope your day is doing well. I'm like, what? Like after you, and it's only 15 minutes. The documentary is only 15 minutes, and you see that, and it's like, y'all just thought that this was cute, and there's kids in the video.
Yeah, that's wild.
In the pictures, and it's just like, they said you wanted to be one of the ones in the front. And I was like, could you imagine if you had those postcards and you saw that your grandparent is just sitting in the front with a smile on their face?
Right.
Like, bro, you do know this is wrong and you're not even, but to them it wasn't. So that's what she did. So it's finally a hate crime. She owned the first African-American newspaper in Chicago.
Really?
Like, she was a journalist. Like, that's what she did. Then they tried to move her, try to always burn her stuff down and everything. And she was like, no, I'm not leaving. So then she would leave, like she'll be going other place, and they trying to kill her, and she's still talking. She's like, oh well, and then she'll go somewhere else, and she's still talking. Like she did not stop. She was like, everybody needs to know about this, and that's what made her so amazing. Like,
wow,
she wouldn't let it go, and I'm just like, man,
yeah, she different.
she is. Like they even had it where she won the money, and then Tennessee Supreme Court reversed the victory shortly after. As long
Oh,
as you give me my money, we
right,
good. Like I just
right,
want, you can do shortly after as much as you want to.
right,
But yeah, she was born in Mississippi in 1862. Like slavery wasn't even over yet.
right,
And she began being an activist in 1884.
right.
And it took, when did Joe Biden come in office? Whatever that was, like over 100 years though.
Yeah.
So it had to be, it took forever for just to get that passed. So she was pretty awesome. Then you have this one. This is Sojourner Truth.
That picture's dope.
This picture is actually done 2020.
These pictures can be purchased.
Yes, you can purchase these pictures.
Is this on the designbymayo.com still or no?
It's not, like some of the pictures are, but if people want to, they can contact me and let me know which one they want. They come in 11 by 14s, 8 by 10s. They come on buttons. I'm trying to figure out how to put them on shirts because it's art. You might as well put it on shirts. So Sojourner Truth, she's the one that if you ever go online and watch Cicely Tyson do her speech, Ain't I a Woman? It is so powerful. Like, it's one of those amazing speeches. It's not long, but hearing Cicely Tyson do it, who was just, she's just a superhero herself, and her to do that, talk about, well, you would put her coat on, and you would open up her door, but ain't I a woman? Like, you ain't gonna open up my door? Like, bruh, I'm just like her. And I just watched a movie with Cicely Tyson. It's called Miss Flora's Family. It was good. It's like a historical fiction.
So, is she still here? Did she pass away a couple years ago?
Yeah, she passed away. Like, she was 93.
Yeah.
Like, they're living long, and then everybody else is just not. I mean, they eat fried food or like McDonald's and stuff like we do.
Right.
So, but yeah, so Sojourner Truth is like, she was a poet, or she was a speaker, and she actually has the first Black woman statue at the U.S., the first African American to have a statue at the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C.
Really?
Yeah, like, she is amazing. She had a kid young though, like young. Like, yeah, and she spoke, like, she did a bunch of different things. Like, it was when she was 9, she was sold at an auction for $100.
Oh man, but $100 back then was a lot of money.
I mean, because that's in 1797.
Oh yeah, see that $100.
That's when she was born. So yeah, so then she was sold 2 times. By the time she was 13, she ended up in New York, and then she ended up falling in love with this guy when she was 18, and he was a slave, but they didn't allow marriage, so the owner always had to separate them.
Wow.
Because you weren't allowed to marry at that time. So instead, she had to marry somebody that was on the plantation. So she fell in love with another guy, or no, she was forced to marry another guy that was on the plantation. And then she had 5 of his kids. And then they was going to give her freedom, promise her freedom on July 4th, of course,
Oh,
and
Lord.
and it says if she would do well and be faithful. And then the date arrived, and he changed his mind and refused to let her go.
Wow.
So then she ended up she did a bunch of stuff. So then she went, um, she left her children, because they were still with the owner, and she ran. And then on her way to New York, where it was her and her daughter was taken to in as a free.
Hello, my name is Laurie Stamps, and I'm the author of the books entitled Rejected Yet Loved, Volumes 1 and Volumes 2. Can you imagine going through your wedding ceremony, having your reception, and all is going well, and you wake up the next morning and the person you thought you married was not the person you married? That exactly what happened to Jacob in the book of Genesis, chapter number 29. He was in love with Rachel and thought he married Rachel, but it ended up marrying her sister, Leah. So you know he was going crazy, but how do you think Leah felt? So volume 1 talks a lot about rejection, of what how Leah went through rejection and how she overcame it. And it talks about my story of being rejected. And then volumes 2 goes a deep further into rejection. So check out Rejected Yet Loved on Amazon. Make great Christmas gifts. Not only am I an author, but I also have a financial business where I show people how to make and save money. I show people that you don't have to live from paycheck to paycheck. There's so many people that hate their jobs. I show people there's a better way. I show people how to establish their own business, how to have a budget, how to get out of credit card debt, how to prepare for your financial future, for your retirement. Are you ready to retire? Are you going to have money when it comes to retirement? I show people how to leave a legacy for their children's children. I would love to have a one-on-one free consultation with you and see how I can help you financially. Contact me at lauriestampsbiz@gmail.com. That's LauriStampsBiz@gmail.com. I would love to sit with you and prepare for you to have a great financial future. God bless you.
She learned different things, and she worked for somebody, and then she ended up working for like the anti-slavery law to help with that, and Emancipation Proclamation. And then she was the first woman to sue a white man and won.
And won.
And won. So yeah, she sued her. He sold her son, and she sued him for selling her son. Yeah. And then she regained custody of her son, and she was the first to do it, and in court. And there was another lady who she did it because she sued. Who did she sue? She sued somebody because she was not, because at the time you were, if your father was free, you were free. But if your mother was a slave, but your father was free, you were free. But she sued because she was free because her dad was the plantation owner.
Right.
But then because she passed it, they passed a law, was like, whatever your mother is, that's what you are. Oh, so wow. Now if your mom was a slave, you became a slave too. You were a slave too.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It was crazy. And then she's just like, she did her speech. She fought for women's rights. She was just amazing. And like, that was just another person that everybody should know about, is Sojourner Truth.
Right.
And she was very spiritual. Like, she was Christian. Like, she knew God. She knew the word. Sometimes she would even speak the scriptures and stuff like that. Like, I loved it. Like, she like captivated audiences. She, like, you knew who she was when she spoke. And it's almost like, you know how some people will say something or do a speech or something, it's like your Easter speech. You know, if you came in was just like, are you talking like this, and then you sound, but then if you was talking like this and you said it, like, everybody is now captivated by what you're saying. And it wasn't like she was just talking. So yeah, so then she ended up, I mean, she did a lot. And she ended up like doing amazing things. And she tried to help find jobs for free Black people so that they don't have to deal with poverty. Like, she helped. And it was just amazing because nowadays it seems like everybody is out for their own.
Yeah, everybody
Except
ain't looking out for
for,
everybody. Yep.
right. So, except for it's like we're all in this together.
Right.
Especially when it comes to like the different classes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're in the middle class, even if you're in the low class, y'all still together. Like, even though we might have grew up on the other side of the tracks, we still Black.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we still got to go through the same thing that other people have to go through who were on the other
Mm-hmm.
side of the tracks. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they see it that way, but they should, because we're the same as them. And, it sucks when you hear somebody that's Black tell you you're not Black enough. I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? Am I
Yeah,
supposed
what
to
does
be
that mean?
darker in skin tone,
Right.
or we
Yeah.
don't sound like you? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I read and was actually listening in class and you weren't. So what do
Right.
you mean? Like, do I sound educated? That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Like Frederick Douglass said, you'll be free if you learn how to read. So I'm sorry that you don't. I mean, most kids now can't even tell time on a clock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they got to look at a watch or something. Like, nah, what does the little short hand and the long hand, what does it say? And they don't know. They're just
Right.
like, and they'll sit there and stare at it. I'm like, nah, this is wrong. This is wrong.
Yep.
And now they're bringing back phonics back to school.
Yeah.
Because Hooked on Phonics worked for us. So.
Yep.
And then they thought it was going to be good for kids to just guess what they're reading. Like, no. You need to learn the sounds. What is the
Mm-hmm.
sounds? And get back to Schoolhouse Rock, because that
Yeah.
will teach you a lot.
That worked.
It did.
Yep. Yeah, I'm
I
just a
mean,
bill.
Mr. Morton walked down the street. Mr. Morton walked.
Yep.
Like,
I'm
we
just
know
a
the
bill.
predicates. You learn that stuff. You know, I take my things in actions. Verb, that's what's
Yeah.
happening. Like, you know what each thing is. A description, nouns, pronouns. They're all in there. Pronouns.
Yep.
Go back to Schoolhouse Rock. They will teach you all of the proper pronouns.
Yep.
I don't know. People want to change English. They change English. I mean, all right, that's fine. But yeah. So,
All
my
right.
last lady, she's not Black.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Who is this?
Her name is Margaret Leonard.
She sounds white.
And
Margaret. I know a couple
is
Margarets.
awesome. She's
Okay.
awesome. She passed away. You're gonna see her mugshot because she was on the bus with John Lewis.
She look young.
She was. This is actually.
She look like the lady that's on the show right now. Madam. Yeah, because she's the president now, or she's the Madam.
Oh.
What is it called? I forget, but yeah, that's what she looked like. So, but wow, she looks super young. So what'd she go to jail for?
She was a journalist, and she was on a Freedom Riders bus.
Wow.
She is actually one of the first white women to be arrested for trying to get Black folks and everybody to have equal rights and to vote.
Really?
And nobody ever talks about her, because my thing is just like, I saw her picture. I said, who is this? She was invited. After she was invited to a Black friend, invited by a Black friend to join her campaign. The officials was upset because they was just like, you can't do that. Like, she invited friends. Like, she had Black friends. Like, she can say, I had Black friends.
Right.
White folks can't. You can't say, I got Black friends, and you don't even know what that means.
Right.
So she was a member of the, she did articles. So she would write about CORE, which was Congress of Racial Equality.
Mm-hmm.
And like, people did not, it was a limb like. So she had to reinforce by asking before she died that her obituary not begin with her role as a freedom rider. Like, because before she was a freedom rider, she was a journalist, and like, she fought for justice. Like, she was out, I don't know how, like, me personally, I don't know how anybody can be a journalist and even in the news and stuff, and go out to these places where you're seeing things being done
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why would you do that? Like, why? Like, you can die. And you're just like, yeah, I mean, but the news got to come out. But I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. So she fought battling racism. She fought for gender equality. It was all in her genes. Like, and I think one of her parents was a part of the news stuff too. But she ended up being on the bus at the and learning how to sit at the table and not get up and all of the stuff you're gonna hear, and which was crazy because they literally had training for you to sit at a coffee shop table. Like, there was training. They would have each other yell at you, scream at you, cuss you out, call racist slurs, and they did, like, they'll slap you, push you, hit you, and you could not hit back. Like, you just, and they would,
that is crazy.
And they would tell them, like, if you cannot handle this, you can't be a part. You don't want to be a part of this. Now, me personally, I would be like, probably 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we're done. Like, I'm about to be all up in your face. And it's just not, like, I would have been more of on the Malcolm X side than the Martin Luther King side. But I'm just saying, like, I can't do that. But they did it. And she was arrested. And while everybody else was upstairs, they put her in the bottom of the prison or the bottom of the jail in the pitch dark. And she's scared of the dark by herself. While everybody else was in the other rooms getting beat. Because they was Black.
Wow.
And she got in as John Lewis would say, good trouble. That's what she did. And they had to call her parents. Everybody else wanted to call their parents. It wasn't allowed. So she, like, but because she was white, she, you know, and there's a picture of another guy, like, he was bleeding and John Lewis is standing beside him and he's this tall white dude. And I'm just like, wow, we had people who wanted, like, I feel everybody should be equal. Like, we all are in this together. And it's not right that you guys have to deal with that. And we never talk about them.
Yeah, we don't talk about them. They get thrown under the joint. They don't get talked about at all.
And then when you hear or you talk to other people, they're like, well, I mean, it's white. They white. So they got their, I'm like, no, but you still need to thank them. Like, I feel like they need to be honored too for fighting for something. I drew this guy, and he had a saying on his. Come to find out, he didn't even believe in God. But he was just like, but he was like, people should be equal, and he fought. And while he was holding on to a sign, he was a post office, worked for the post office, holding on to a sign. White folks came up and shot him and then drove off. And that's it. That's all you. But he fought for something. Like, this is wrong. And he said something without having to say it with his words. He used a poster.
Right.
And he wore it. And I'm just like, wow. And we never talk about any of these people. We don't talk about them. So Fannie Lou Hammer has this quote that, because she's about to get drawn this week, and she has this quote that talks about how if we're not free until we're all free. And so there was a poster that had all of these Black women who had mugshots for the Freedom Riders bus. And I said, why would you put her quote in this when you don't have everybody on there? Like, all of us can be, if we're not free till all of us is free, then that means you should put all of us in the poster, not just Black women. White women should be in the poster too, if they were on the bus and they sacrificed their life as well. We talk about everybody else doing stuff and what we've done, but why can't we? Like, do you think every Underground Railroad home was a Black person's house?
Right.
Like the abolitionists, we don't talk about them. We don't talk about those who fought for it. Do you know our first 20 presidents, or I think it was our first 20 presidents until it was over, they all had slaves other than two. Two. And they were father and son, the Adams, because they were abolitionists and was like, we will not. They did not have slaves. Everybody else did.
So the first 20.
Yep.
Wow.
And Ulysses S. Grant, who's on a $50 bill, he didn't have slaves. His wife did. So when he got married, her dad gave them, but he never had them.
Wow. So that was the gift for the wedding gift. Is 50 slaves.
Yes. And that's always like, we're not like, what kind of gift is that? Like, oh yeah, you get to take, and what? That's not a gift.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
in the movie, Cicely Tyson like goes to a table because they talk about this table that these guys went to and was beaten, and she said, "I'm just coming to get coffee," and it was like, Miss Ford, we can't give you coffee. She said, "I'm not asking for nothing else. I just want coffee." And so a kid goes outside, and then he runs back in, and then he says, "You need to get up out of here." And then, of course, calling her the N-word and all of that stuff. And she said, "What are you gonna do?" She said, "I had your father on my breast. He drunk my milk. That's the same as DNA. So you're going to beat me up? That's what you're going to do?" And he walked out.
Wow.
He couldn't do anything. Like, y'all do know, we nurse them.
That's crazy.
Like, Harriet Tubman got beat if the baby cried. It's not even her baby.
Right.
But if the baby cries, she got beat. What kind of nonsense does
You
that?
don't get beat all the time then, because them babies ain't gonna stop crying.
Yeah. So they like with black women nursed these white women's kids. They nursed them. And I'm like, but that's okay for you to have their milk. But when you get to World War II, you can't have our blood.
Right.
What's the difference? And that's just, it's just sad. It's sad.
That's
So they
wild.
got out, and then the sheriff came in, and he's just like, and the lady is sitting there. She's like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I can't. And the sheriff said, well, she asked for it. She came in first, and he sat down, and he was like, give her some coffee, because everybody knew who she was. Like, everybody knew who she was. That's just like Harriet Jacobs. I think that's her name. She wrote her biography. That sucker is insane for a woman to hide in a cubby above a garage for 7 years.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah, I don't know if she did
Insane.
that.
And when she was 15, her owner wanted her so bad. Like, he was married. And she kept saying, bruh, you married? That's disgusting. I don't like you. You ugly. Like, she did not like him at all. And then he hit her. And then he like, I'm so sorry, but you made me do it. Like, and so his wife can't stand her. And I'm like, well, what can you do about that? Like, what can
Right.
you? So he was like, I'm about to make you a house. And then you can just live in this house, and it just be me and you for like I will give you whatever you want. You can have whatever clothes you want, whatever you want in the house. And she's like, I don't want it. I don't want you. And he was not listening. Do you know a 15-year-old found another white man and slept with him just to have his baby, just to make him mad?
Wow.
And he was mad. And then she did it again, and he was even more mad. And she ended up having to hide. The guy who was the dad of her kids ended up being a congressman. And then he was supposed to buy her kid, like buy everybody's freedom. And he bought her daughter, and like he bought her daughter. He was supposed to give her to a good school and everything. She never did. She ended up being his wife's servant. That's his daughter.
Right.
So then her son was older. So he was the first one. So he was older. The little girl didn't even know her mom because she never seen her, because she had her. And then at a specific time, her grandparents and I think it was because her grandma got sold. And then a lady bought her freedom by giving her $1 and telling her to give it back to her. So she was free. Like, so, and everybody loved her. and they put her on the selling block, and they was like, we're not doing this. Like, everybody, when they saw her up there, they was like, we're not buying her. No, because she shouldn't be up here in the first place. So somebody bought her, and then they gave her $1 to give it back. So then she was free. So the kids can go over to see their grandma, but they could not be with their mom. So they would have people around would send like postcards from different places, ship it to different places, and then have them send it out to other places so that they can see she's not here. And then when they thought they was there, she would be in the they would put everybody in jail for days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Until somebody talked. But nobody knew everybody knew where she was, but nobody was gonna say anything. So she was able to get out. She got out. It was her and her brother. So she was able to get out, escape. And man, she talked about the mosquitoes. And sleeping in where your body can't stretch out. And she got a cold because she's out there in the winter. And there's hardly no blanket. She said the mice was in there. Oh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And her son, when she got free and they freed her son, he said, I knew you was up there. And she said, how? He said, because I heard you sneeze. But I didn't want you to get caught. So anytime his little sister would go over there, he would move them all away. But he never went over there because he knew his mom was in there.
What?
So all of these years, he knew where his mom was and could not go see her. But he knew she was there because if he was to go over there, they would be like, what's going on over there? And they checked it and everything. Could not find the cubby. They could not find her. Couldn't find her. That's just insane. And so then she ended up escaping. Then her brother escaped. So at the end of it, it talks about her brother's story of how he escaped. Then her found her daughter, escaped her daughter, got her daughter, and then they created a school to teach runaway slaves and educate runaway slaves, taught them how to read, did all of that. Inside of it, she talked about the bad part that happened with all of the Nat Turner nonsense. It was just, it's a lot, but it's a good book. And it's just, I'm like, history has been very phenomenal. So I'm drawing it because I feel like people need to know about it. And if you know about it, there's like, now you learn. You got Ida B. Wells, was the first woman that refused to move from her seat. You got Sojourner Truth, who was the first Black woman to have her statue, or actually first Black person to have a statue at the Capitol building. And then you have Margaret Leonard, who was the first white woman to be on a Freedom Riders bus and get arrested. One of the first white do it and fought for freedom and civil rights of everyone. And I feel like it shouldn't even just be civil rights, it's just rights, because everything in the Constitution belongs to us.
Right.
So all of it is ours, not just the Civil Rights Act. Like, no, all of the Constitution is ours. So yeah. So tune in. We have so much more.
So much more. We learned 3 today.
There's so many.
There's so many more. So you guys make sure, we'll still have our jokes in there, here and there. But time to get serious. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's the season, and it's a time where you just got to be serious, and everything just isn't funny anymore. And it's just things that we need to learn that we won't, go in YouTube to look it up or go on Google to look it up. But now we have a podcast, so you don't have to go look it up. We'll just present it to you on things like that. So
I mean, that's so good.
Yep. So you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get her own YouTube channel, but until we get that popping, you can come straight here to the Monte's World podcast every Wednesday, and we'll have what we need to have for you. All righty.
Yeah.
Peace. I can't even find my mouse to close this. All right, there you go.
Two to the dome, I came to kill. And all the DJs and beat makers know the drill. Your boy back, they all run like sawmill. This beat was just sent to me, this was a fresh kill. But you ain't know when I load up